Whenever you're ready, Bonnie, go ahead and take it away.
Okay. Welcome to Build Your Consulting Business Now Summit. We're an international multi-day event, and Jacqueline Grant put this all together with the help of many, many hands. And she says all businesses start with an idea. And so with that, I just have one or two housekeeping things. Please mute your phones. And just so you know, there'll be an offer at the end of this presentation. So today we are so blessed to have Pablo Troncoso with us. Good afternoon, Pablo.
How you doing, Bonnie?
He's going to share with us something very exciting. We all like to know what we're doing, and he's going to share a 4-step framework. I love that idea, framework, to create an irresistible offer. And even if you don't have time to create one, he's going to teach us how, in this next 40 minutes, 45 minutes or so, how to create an offer that's guaranteed to convert into sales. And one thing is to do presentations and then no one buys from you. But Pablo's going to teach us a few things. And if you're a budding entrepreneur, this is crucial for your business. And if you're a seasoned entrepreneur, this is crucial for your business. So with that, I'm going to let Pablo take over and give us some really great content here. And then again, at the end, look forward to his offer for us. Thank you, Pablo, for joining us today.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Bonnie. And thank you, Andrew and Jacqueline, for setting all this up. I'm so grateful to be here and to be a part of this summit. I'm just hoping that I can add value over the next 40 minutes. And I know we've got a lot to cover, Bonnie, so we're going to go ahead and just jump right in if you're okay with that.
Please, yes.
Let's do that. Okay, fantastic. So my screen just fine, right? How to create an irresistible offer, even if you don't have time or have a product or service to offer. Is that right? You can see that? Okay, great. Fantastic. So let me, if you guys don't mind, I'm going to actually jump right into a story. Okay. So a while back, kind of a crazy story. Our company needed sales, right? Sound familiar? And I knew something was missing. But here's the deal. I wasn't in the sales department and I wasn't in the marketing department. I was the training director, right? And I knew something was missing that I hadn't seen. And so many of my mentors that I'd had in the past had perfected. And so I reached out to the vice president of sales and I shared my offer secrets. And she loved it. I reached out to the VP of marketing and shared my offer secrets and he loved it. And then I spoke to the CEO and he said, let's round up the troops, all the C-suites. And to be honest, I was extremely shocked that they weren't in the know. And so I presented the idea to the entire team and they all loved it. And well, what changed? In the end, we still had to sell our software, right? The difference maker was I showed them how to sell software by creating an offer, an irresistible offer that was going to allow us to approach the enterprise level C-suite prospects, in our industry in a way that no one had ever approached them. And so the offer, when stacked correctly and when presented correctly, can mean the difference between either lowering your sales goals next year or obliterating your sales goals this year. And it doesn't matter what level business you're in. I'm going to tell you that right now. Okay. This company I'm talking about was a high level, a $50 million company. And as a high level SaaS player, right? SaaS is a software as a service player in the financial technology space. Our clients invest as little as $60,000 to as much as $200,000 per year. And the program I put together sells for just $597, okay, in this case study I'm talking about, and caused us to find 2 mid-range clients before we even launched. And they have also taken the brilliant advice my clients did of turning the offer that we created, turning it into an evergreen that is always running in the background, basically bringing them leads while they sleep. And guys, it only took 30 days to put together. So $60,000 in ARR, which is annual recurring revenue, right? That was in 2 clients. Got the full cooperation of the C-suite, right? Everyone that needed to make the decisions was on board. We also were able to get continual lead generation through that evergreen. And again, we executed it in just 30 days. So I want to basically share with you guys a few things, right? I think what we want to keep track of is the fact that, I can tell you how all of this works, but part of it is I got to explain who I am first, right? I'm a family man. I've been married for 5 years. That's my wife, Andreina. That's my little guy, Luca, and my daughter, Antonella. I am also a TCK, an adult TCK, which means it's just a fancy way of saying at a young age, I traveled around a lot because I was a military brat, right? By the age of 16, I'd lived in 5 countries on 4 continents and spoke 3.5 languages. All that to say is that although I've had our fair share of challenges when you move that much as a youngin', I believe that all of the strengths that I've gained over the years have prepared me for today. As far as my career goes, I call myself an entrepreneur. What does that mean? It means I've worked for companies and I've worked for myself, right? I build my own companies and I've worked for others. Currently, I have a 9-to-5 job. I'm an entrepreneur because I'm an entrepreneur who's inside a corporation, but I'm letting them grow with my strengths as an entrepreneur, as well as building my own business as an entrepreneur. So financial services background, sales and leadership coaching, and online marketing, even for the last 3 years. In fact, at age 25, that's when I built my first business using an online marketing platform and had grown it to a 7-figure business within 18 months, okay? And what I do is I love helping entrepreneurs maximize their service and product revenue. And that's why just this year, in May, in the middle of COVID, while I was working a full-time job, while I had a 3-month-old daughter sitting in my arms, I had started a group called the Collaborators Academy to help entrepreneurs do just that, right? And consultants to maximize their service and product offering. So throughout my career, I've always loved speaking and training, whether it was in person or virtually, whether it was my team or my client's team or those that were in my collaborators community. Things are different today, but if you're serving people with your products or consulting services in person or online, guys, this is going to help you. Absolutely no doubt about it. It's going to help you. It's going to serve you, and you're going to help serve your clients. So I hope you've got some notes, your notes ready to go. So here's the deal. 3 years ago, I became obsessed with doing business online, and not just doing business online, but doing it with ethics and morale, right? Because maybe like you, when I discovered I can work virtually from anywhere in the world, and again, this was pre-COVID, that I could serve my perfect customers wholeheartedly and still be living a balanced life, I knew that I was going to spend some time to learn and then how to leverage that. And I wanted to take my expertise of teaching others what I know and learn how to make money doing it online. And I was going to make sure that I did that, from the best of the best, right? So I went on a little bit of a mission. Since 2015, I've flown all over the country to learn from incredible mentors who have been on hundreds of coaching calls, all right? I've invested tens of thousands of dollars each year to associate and to learn from the best of the best, and it's been a life changer. But there's a big but, Bonnie. I still wasn't getting their results. I was starting to get frustrated. All right. I knew I had a ton of value to offer, but I just couldn't execute and get clients to hire me to coach and train their teams. If you've ever been there, you know how I felt. I'm sure you're probably raising your hand or nodding your head. So I had to know, what was it that made them so awesome? I mean, aside from their expertise, aside from being John Maxwell, the world's #1 leadership expert, or aside from my boy Brian D up here, who created 8 figures in revenue from just one funnel, right? What were they doing? What did they have that had people lining up to buy their products and their services? So, I was on a mission. And so I started researching. I started researching and collaborating with others just like me in the coaching and consulting space, and we started growing together, right? We started tuning and perfecting. And that's when one day it hit me. like a ton of bricks. It was like I discovered a treasure at the bottom of the ocean. And then one thing led to another. I made some calls, started to implement my secrets. And before you know it, I started making offers that my clients could not say no to. There you go. So you see, there's an old way of doing things. Offline. Some dare say old school. So for example, if you're in real estate, you sell homes, right? A prospect looks at a home or looks at homes, then they sign a contract and then you get paid. If you're in insurance, you sell policies. Prospects interested in protection, they apply, they sign a contract, and then you get paid, right? If you're in tech, you sell your software. If you're a consultant, you offer your consulting services. You get it, right? But then I came to a realization while I was trying to figure out what made my mentors awesome. I came to a realization, and that realization was that everyone was doing it a new way, right? And that nothing should be offered alone. Not homes, not insurance policies, not consulting services, not if I wanted to be memorable at least, right? And not definitely if I wanted to stay in business. So what all my mentors had been doing was offering these amazing and irresistible offers that I couldn't help myself. A lot of industries have had it figured out for a while, right? Look at fast food restaurants. You think of like McDonald's and their Happy Meal, okay? You think of travel packages, sporting events. What did they all have in common? It was packaging, AKA bundling, right? So I went back to my lab and I started to crack this formula. And I'm going to give it to you today because when I put this to use, I started having 5-figure days and I started helping my clients do the same as well. Okay. So whether you're in transition in the workforce or not, whether you're young or as I call it, seasoned, whether you have a big budget or you have big dreams, whether you're an entrepreneur like me, still working a full-time job and building something on the side, or you're a full-time entrepreneur and you've been selling services and consulting for quite some time. So whether you're an acorn or the oak tree or possibly the forest or in transition anywhere along this planet, one thing is true. You need rich soil in order to thrive, right? So over the course of the next 30 minutes, I'm going to share with you the 4-part framework. And I promise it's going to be a nutrient-filled soil that's going to help you revitalize your business, okay? So these 4 parts are pretty simple. It's your mindset, right? It's a story that it works anywhere. We need to understand that we need to have the right mindset in place. It's your principles, right? The pillars that you must know in order to move forward. It's your elements, the different strategies that you got to put in place. And then, of course, your actions. Right? Don't be the frog that stays on the log. Okay. And I'll explain that a little bit later. Your next step and your resources, we're going to go over that with you. Okay. So let's go over what that first part is, right? Let me make sure I can get the screen to go there. Okay. So I heard our host, Jacqueline, earlier say that what you have is needed in this world today. Now, ain't that the truth? But entrepreneurship and owning a business is no easy feat, let alone knowing how to make an irresistible offer that doesn't feel salesy and takes all your passion to create. So this part is super important to include. In fact, skipping over this, which a lot of people tend to want to do, especially if they're just getting started, I truly believe if you skip over parts like this, will result in failure before you even get started. Mainly because it will eventually come up at some point where this is going to be needed. And if you haven't primed it, it'll cause and it'll lead to failure. And so during these times, we can't afford to skip, right? Crisis, FOMO, imposter syndrome, finances, relationships, I mean, you name it, health, etc. So one of the parts of mindset is here's what it's going to take. I think one of the most important parts. There's lots of parts to cover. I'm just going to focus on this one, and that's teamwork. As a team, you can accomplish anything. And if you don't believe that, I want you to pause. Because your beliefs are very important. In fact, neurologically and scientifically proven that your beliefs drive your behavior. Okay? You're going to laugh when you see the next slide. The mistake that kept me stuck for two whole years was trying to do it solo. That doesn't sound like the right mindset. Trying to be a solopreneur, I'm going to take over the world all on my own. It's nonsense. You end up blaming everyone else when things don't go right. And then when you run out of people to blame, you blame yourself. And that's when it gets real bad, right? So the best way to overcome fear and obstacles and to get your mindset in the right mode is to take these practical steps. Is to surround yourself with other like-minded people continually, right? Not just once, but continually. And so who are these people, right? You might be asking yourself, my mentor, John Maxwell, right? So I'm a certified coach with the John Maxwell team, and I've been so for 5 years. I've learned so much wisdom from him, and he's been doing it for over 50 years. But this was so poignant, this point that I'm about to make. He said to me, he said, if you want to surround yourself with the right people, he said, surround yourself with people who pray for you, who encourage you, who teach you, who stretch you, and who unconditionally love you. It's not an easy task, but when you do this, when you ask yourself, who are the people that are doing this, it'll be some of the best thinking that you'll have ever given yourself. People are going to think you're crazy to do what you're doing. People are going to tell you, you can't do this. You shouldn't start a business. It doesn't matter that, the economy isn't going to recover. No one's going to buy your services. Or who do you think you are? You've only been doing this you've never done this before. What, right? They're going to try to reel you into the comfort zone, right? Those don't sound like the kind of people that we need around us when we're trying to build a business. Okay. So I want to give you an example though, of asking these questions to yourself, right? Or to your loved one. I remember coming back home from one of these conferences, it was a leadership conference, and my wife looked at me. We were on the flight, 10,000 feet up in the air. And she asked me, we went over that list, and she asked me, she said, Pablo, who are those people in our life? I had already been pondering it since before we boarded the flight. And I remember looking at her and saying, I can't really think of anyone. But having gone through that exercise has made all the difference today, right? All the difference in the world today. Because as of right now, I'm surrounded with people that are much smarter than me, who do all these things, right? Who encourage me, who pray for me, teach me, stretch me, unconditionally love me, like they want me to succeed. And so right now, I'm going to ask you, I want you to pick the people, they might have already popped up into your head, that do these things for you in your life. And I want you to write their names down real quick. And maybe if you're watching the recording, you can pause this and jot that name or a few names down. Hopefully it's a lot. But if you were like me, it was no one, right? Except for my spouse, and that's great. But we couldn't learn from each other, right? At least not the things that we had set out to go learn together. So I want you to not only jot that name down. Now here's the fun part. I want you to send them a nice, meaningful message. Send them a text message. Send them a voice note. Give them a call. Chances are you might not have even spoken to them in a while, right? And just see what happens. And here's the deal. If you don't know anyone like that, if you were like me, well, today's your lucky day, because I want to be that for you. Okay? So I'm hoping that this first part, like I said, I'm glad we didn't skip it, but it's very powerful, and I would encourage you to share that with someone else as well. So let's get into the second part. All right, we're going to get into the nitty gritty, and then we're going to get into some strategies, and then again, we'll give you a takeaway that'll help you utilize resources starting today. So the second part of the secret formula, remember, for irresistible offers, we're now in the right mindset. We know that we've got the right people around us, or we know at least what they look like or what they should look like. The principles is really a key and important part. Why? Because the principles, as we know, a principle is always it's what holds things together, right? It's what we call sometimes the pillars. And so the principles are important because this is what we need to know in order to make this absolutely a success. All right. Let me see here for some reason. Sorry, guys, my mouse. Okay, so these are some of the basics that you got to know. right? And some of the practical things that you can put into play right now. Now, I'm not going to have a ton of time to dive into these today, but I promise that I'll share how you can get quick access to this info and some of the incredible free resources to put it all to play for you a little bit later, okay? So, now first one is knowing who. Knowing who is your who is a huge step. For today's purpose and time, I'm going to assume that you know your target audience real well. That's what who is, right? Like Andrew, who are you targeting in your business? Bonnie, who are you targeting in your business? Jacqueline, who are you targeting in your business? Specifically who? So I'm gonna just pretend that you know who that is, okay? But let's move on to the next one. And the next one is your problem, right? Meaning, what problem do you solve for your audience or for your who, right? So if you know who your audience is, then chances are, if you know them really well, you know what problems they have. And so you've identified the problem that you solve for them. The next one is the value. You offer, you have a lot to offer, period. Okay. So knowing your worth is key. And here's the thing. You are worth so much more than you think you are. Okay. And we're going to dive into that a little bit later. And the next one is understanding your offers, understanding that every type of profitable and successful company, doesn't matter what kind it is or what level of industry or what level of experience, the profitable and successful companies use offers. It's a cornerstone principle, and we'll definitely be covering this. Next is your components. This is vital to irresistible offers. It's like the difference between addition and multiplication and knowing what your components are. Okay, and we're going to definitely go over these, but each offer needs the right components, and we're going to go deep into those. Okay, and then lastly are your layers. Basically, what layers are is just your category of components. So if you have a whole bunch of different components that belong in your offer, well, then the layers are the categories that these components fit into. Okay, so let's move right along then. But before we get into making this irresistible offer, first, what is an offer? Right? What is an offer? Well, how about first what it's not? Okay, how about first what an offer is not? It is not a product, right? So remember how we talked about real estate agents, for example? Well, the product is not the house, okay? It is not a service, right? So if you're a consultant, it is not, it is not your consulting services. It is not a membership. It is not a software, right? We talked about the consulting and how amazing that is. But let's talk about what an offer actually is. It is the complete package, right? It's a complete package that serves your clients fully, right? It solves their problem. It fulfills their desires, right? Gives them hope, and it gets you paid, right? If it ain't getting you paid, it's probably not a good offer. and so yeah, exactly. And the good thing is that it's a bundle, right? Like we talked about it, the bundle is the packaging. And here's what's great about the bundle. You get to choose what goes in it. Okay. But we're going to talk about how you can be smart with how you choose what goes in it. Because this offer isn't about, Bonnie, what you want. It's about what your who wants. Okay. So the question everyone needs to be asking is, how do I take a product or a service and turn it into an offer? Right? How do I take a product or service and I turn it to an offer? And the best way to do that, is how can I help somebody become more successful with what I have to give them? Right? So again, if I have consulting services, well, if I was to offer or sell somebody my consulting services, right? What else would they need in order to be successful in whatever it is that I'm consulting them on, right? So we're going to dive a little bit deeper on that. We're going to pull back the layer there, but just a way to think about how offers should be put together. And this is truly what's going to help you start to distinguish a product from an offer. I'm going to show you how the sausage is made, guys, because when you see this, you'll immediately be able to see ads, whether it's Facebook ads or ads on television, and you'll be able to say, that's a product, that's a real offer, right? And we're going to take a look at a couple examples here right now. Okay, so here's some examples, and understand this: the better my offer is, the less I have to market. right? That's a bit of nugget right there. The better my offer is, the less I have to market or spend on marketing or advertising. For example, I love a sport known as football, right? I'm originally from Argentina. You might know it as soccer, or if you're watching this internationally, you know it as football, right? So here's Messi and Ronaldo. I love them both, by the way, okay? But if I had to choose, my boy Messi there in the Barca red and blue. But if I wanted to go see a game, right? We're talking about the difference between products and offers. If I wanted to go see a game where these two are playing against each other, I'd buy a ticket. Albeit it's super hard to come by because they don't play in the same league anymore. And plus it's in such high demand, plus all the COVID restrictions. So let's just rewind back to like pre-COVID, right? If I wanted to go see these guys play, I would just buy a ticket. That ticket is a product, right? But if someone came to me, Andrew, and said, Pablo, I've got 2 tickets for you to go to the Super Classico, right? Messi versus Ronaldo, club seats, an autograph session with these guys, and all you have to do is get a hotel and airfare. Listen, I don't care what I would need to do. I'd make it happen, right? I'm in 100%. You don't even have to tell me when it is. I'm in. Whatever I had going on, I'd cancel that day. However money I need, it doesn't matter how much I have in my bank account or don't have, I'm going to find it. So no one else is going to have to continually market that message to me. Got it? Remember how I said the better the offer is and the better it speaks to the audience, the less you have to market, right? So you tell me this once and I'm in. So there you go. That's an example of that. Of course, there's, there's wine baskets and even cell phone service, right? They all give you the components that you need to make this more successful for you to use it, right? Or in the case of this event package of the sporting event, it's not a success. I would call it an experience of a lifetime. That's really what we're looking for, right? I want to give you one other quick example. It's not up here, but it's a client of mine. One of my clients is a mompreneur, full-time mom, running a full-time job at home, full-time business rather. And she's a plant-based nutritionist. And she loves her 2 young kids, of course. And but if someone went to her and said, hey, listen, there is a 3-day women's nutrition retreat in Orlando, for example. And for the 6 hours per day that you would be in your workshops, right, and in your conference, they have full childcare at Disney for your children. It's included. It's part of the package. All expenses paid, right? Airfare, hotel. All we ask is for a one-time $5,000 donation to the World Health Organization, for example. What do you think she would say? I'm in, right? Like, I love that idea. You're telling me I get to go here. I get to do what I love. I still get to, even though I'm not with my kids, I know they're having the time of their life and I can join them before or after. I mean, come on. And then at the same time, all I have to do is write a check for how much? I'm in, right? So all you need to do, again, is ask, how can I help a person with said product or service to be more successful with it? And then do anything in your power. Here's very important. Do anything in your power to do those things, to give them those things that make them successful. Does that make sense? Okay. So if someone kept, if someone had actually come to me and said that, and that's happened in the past. In fact, when I joined some of these programs, that's exactly how it happened. I didn't join because of the coaching. I joined because of all the things that they were giving me. So next we're going to take a look at these great qualities, right? So when you look at a package, it's like knowing the heart of an irresistible offer, right? You're going to know the heart. And like I mentioned before, I didn't set out to just help people do business online. I want people to do ethical and moral business online. So the first one is honor, right? Whoops. The first one is honor. Honor your who. Do it for the progress, what you're putting together, do it for the progression and the progress of your target. The next one is value. Love your who. You ever heard of people that say, I want them to give me value, or they've gave me so much value and we want to offer so much value. I love the word value, but you know what word is actually more valuable than value? It's the word love. So if you love your people, if you love what you do more than anyone else, then you're the one that's going to win, right? I always think of this. If it was pouring down rain and your who knocked on the door, drenched, soaking wet, no umbrella, and you were about to sit down and have dinner, would you start asking them questions to figure out kind of what they were up to? How did they get stuck? Or would you probably do what? Invite them in, right? Get them some dry clothes, get them a cup of tea, give them a towel, offer them some food if you had food, right? So think about these things. It might sound a little bit off if you're not used to this idea, especially if maybe coming from corporate. No offense against corporate, right? I'm in corporate. This idea of loving your prospects and loving with your heart your people that you're serving. So I'll move on from that one, but that's probably the most powerful one. The next one is your belief. You got to believe in what you're offering. You got to believe in what you're selling, right? Like if you wouldn't buy it, come on, that's an easy one, right? Next one is peace of mind, right? Does it put them at ease when they go to sleep at night? Next is enjoyment, meaning do they feel happy? What you're offering, does it make them happy? And more importantly, does it make you happy, right? If it doesn't, there's some questions there. Restoration. Basically, are they restored when they utilize your product? Does this help solve their problem, right? Is it simple? Is it uncomplicated, right? Do you have proof? There's power in testimonials, right? Before we got started, we shared a testimonial. There's power in testimonials. Community, right? Is this a characteristic? Is there a characteristic of community, meaning that, where teamwork is being encouraged? Remember that mindset? Right? Are you building a community where that can be felt? And then of course, hope through aspiration, right? You don't just want to give them something that helps them fix one little thing. You want to give them hope that there's so much more, that they don't have to accomplish everything today, but you can lead them down that way. So in other words, what else do they need to be successful, right? And so, you might be thinking, well, Pablo, I'm not sure I have an offer problem. I just can't seem to find the right people with the right money. Well, what people don't realize is that if you've been struggling with getting people to buy you and your services, 90% of the time, it's not a leads problem. It's an offer problem, right? It's not a leads problem. It's an offer problem. So having the right offer to the right people is 95% of what you need to succeed, whether that's online, offline, products or services. But also having a hot offer is like sharpening the saw before chopping down the tree, right? You don't just go, chop down a tree with a dull saw. You want to spend time sharpening that saw first. So super simple formula, like A plus B equals C, is your unique, distinct offer plus a highly targeted audience, your who, is going to win 9 times out of 10. Your only things you really got to look at are those two, right? Not your marketing, not your, Facebook design, your ad design. It's these two things. Okay. And the better my offer is, remember, the less I have to market. Right? Okay, so are you guys with me so far? Does that make sense? All right. So far, we've covered your mindset, right? We've covered your who and the principles, rather. And next up is going to be the elements. Next up is the elements, right? And the thing about the elements is these are the actual pieces that come together in your offer. These are the actual pieces that come together in your offer. So number one is your core product, right? What is that core product or service that you offer, right? So if you're in management consulting, you offer management consulting services, right? What are your bonuses? Number two, people buy offers not for the core product. They buy offers for the bonuses, right? So like when somebody, for example, if I'm going to that sporting event, my favorite part is the time with my friends or my families that I go to that event with, right? It's taking my kid to buy the foam finger, right? So he can wave it and I can get some great pictures with him, right? It's getting a snow cone with my daughter, right? I buy the offers because of those things, not because of the ticket. I don't buy the offer because of the ticket. I can get the ticket anywhere. Okay, so you're making the connections there. So that's what the bonuses do. The guarantee is third, and it's also important. It gives people that peace of mind, right? Gives people a peace of mind, right? You want to have a guarantee of minimum 15 days, depending on your business, right? Minimum 15 days, maximum 60 days, again, depending on what you're offering, anywhere in between, or I've seen more or less. Number 4 is pricing and plans, meaning what do you charge? Actually, I'm sorry, I have the numbers messed up here. Number 4 is social proof, which is your testimonials and more testimonials, right? If you're just getting started, it's as simple as screenshots of feedback that you've gotten from a Facebook or a LinkedIn post where you've helped them, right? If they're like, hey, Pablo, awesome job today in our session. Thank you so much for taking the time to do that. You know, I've really gotten freedom in the area of blank. Screenshot, right? Maybe I would send out a message to so-and-so and say, hey, do you mind if I use this? I'm sure they're going to be okay with it, right? Otherwise, they wouldn't have put it on social media. Next one is pricing, right? Pricing and plans. Basically, what do you charge? That's got to be part of the offer. They got to know what you're charging. And then I say plans because can people make payments? Do you have payment plans? Okay. Like in one of the, like in the offer that I was talking about at the very beginning, that brought in over 60,000 in revenue. For the $600 course, there was no payment plan. It was just one-time payment, $597. That was it. And why? Well, I wasn't looking for people that needed a payment plan, right? Like if a company needs to have a payment plan for a low ticket item, like a $600 for a corporation, that's probably not who my customer is, right? So again, if I know who my audience is, the payments are going to make sense. The pricing is going to make sense. Number 6 is urgency. There has to be a reason why they must buy now. There's got to be a reason, right? So we'll talk a little bit about that later. And then lastly is marketing and delivery strategies, right? So whether it's digital strategy or documents, right? Like pieces of paper, like I used to use, or offline completely, like a phone call. I used to just verbalize mine, right? Like when I first cracked this code, for me, this was how I delivered an offer. Hi, Mr. Johnson. Have I got a deal for you today? Right? And I'd go through all of my elements here, right? But sure, that worked. In fact, so Mr. Johnson, actually that wasn't his name, but that was my first $20,000 coaching contract, right? That came my way when I finally put that together. But guess what? As great as a $20,000 contract is, that is not an efficient way to do business. So because I had to talk to one person at a time, and basically in that one call, I would have to solve a problem, right? Make aware to him what his problem is, help solve it, answer any objections, and become highly desirable and share testimonials all in one phone call. What an awful way to run a business if there's a much better way, especially today. So with that said, let's go into this next piece, okay? And this next piece is the strategy of of what these elements do and how they're positioned, okay? You got to have all these pieces in order to have an irresistible offer, right? Again, it's like having the saw that's sharpened before chopping down that list. So number 1 is you got to have a name, meaning what's your offer called, right? Not what's your product called, what is your offer called, okay? The offer that I had presented and I talked about earlier, it was for a company that helps other companies to retain their customers. So we decided to give them all of the information they could ever want, teach them everything that they would ever need with regards to retention, right? Retaining their customers. And we called it the Attention to Retention package, program, whatever. Attention to Retention, right? So it was catchy, but it also made sense. Like I could tell you exactly what it was if I just read you the name. The next thing you're going to want is you're going to want a tagline, right? Meaning what distinction, how does it distinguish itself from anything else, right? So for example, usually there's a time component in this, right? So in 30 days, learn how to launch your irresistible offer, without breaking the bank, for example. The next one is your problem resolved statement, right? And the problem resolved is actually, you know what? I kind of took tagline and problem resolved. I mixed those. Tagline is really something more like what I had, where it's like, even if you don't have a product to offer or time to create it, right? Now that's what, and I'm sorry about that. That's what distinguishes a tagline statement from a problem resolved statement, okay? Problem resolved is the one where it's going to be talking about, the timeline, okay? But either way, both of those, you're definitely going to need, because it's going to help the who identify and say, wow, Bonnie really knows me. Pablo really knows me. He's speaking to me, right? When you have these taglines and things right, your audience basically starts nodding their head just by seeing what you're saying, okay? The next one, of course, is your core offering, right? What is the main thing? The pricing. What is the, can your people afford this? Can they afford this? We talked about that a little bit earlier. The next one is the core offering. What is it that you're offering, right? If it's real estate, great. Multiple listings that I can take you through, right? If it's a course that you're offering, great. But remember, people don't buy what they're buying because of the course. They're buying it for the bonuses. And they do want those bonuses, right? So what extras can you throw in that benefit them? And here's a little tip, insider tip trick about bonuses. If you can make your bonuses answer objections, right? If you can make your bonuses answer objections, like, Pablo, I don't have time to go through this. I love it, but I just don't have the time. Well, then guess what one of my bonuses is going to be? It's going to be a video. It's going to be a 5-minute video of how, hey, here's the best way to maximize your time, even if you only have less than 1 hour per week to work on your business. Boom. Okay. That is a great bonus. And of course, the guarantee gives them the peace of mind. And we talked about the scarcity, which is why they should buy now. And one of the reasons why they should buy now is if you've got limited time, right? I personally, I have only so much time. I only have so many clients that I can take on. So the first 10 people that sign up, that's it. I'm closing it down, right? Don't tell people that your scarcity is, I only have so much available for people to buy my ebook. Because they're going to read right through that. They're going to say, well, what kind of scarcity is that? Or even my e-course, right? It's got to be realistic stuff. Remember, honor your who, value them, and also value yourself. And when you figure that out, right, you're like, hey, listen, I only have so much time because I actually have a family and I want to spend time with them too. That's why I'm not taking on more than 10 clients this month.
Pablo, this list that you have right here, worth millions of dollars if someone will take it and run with it.
Thanks,
I've got to tell you, I've done things just for the bonuses, just for that one reason alone. Oh, I want the bonuses. What was juicy to me, right?
Yep.
And so, but the guarantee, okay, I don't have to worry about it if I don't like it. But I mean, really, is very few people, far between, might say, oh, I want it. No, I don't want it. Very, very few. So it's such a comfort to have to know that you got that guarantee going on.
Yeah. And listen, if you remember, I said, if you love what you do, right? It's not just will they love what you're giving them, but if you love what you do, of course you won't have a problem taking it back. You're going to think they're crazy.
Yeah.
Right? Especially if your offer is an irresistibly amazing offer. Of course you're going to think they're crazy. They're probably going to feel bad returning it if they do, because they're going to be like, I'm sorry. Yes. But here's the thing. If you love it, you're not going to say, hey, send me all my stuff back. You're going to say, listen, keep it.
Yep.
Whatever the problem was, that's okay. Maybe let me know. You don't have to, right? There's no conditions. But hopefully next time, you'll remember us when we're here to help you again. Okay. When things change. But get that feedback, right? Why were you, I thought I knew my who, why didn't you want this? So that's a whole nother course, right? We could spend so much time there. Let's go through this, right? You're probably saying, wait, Pablo, that sounds great, but I thought you said I don't have to go and create anything new, or what if I don't have time? Exactly. There's a systematic category checklist that you could go through where you might access, more things, more than you have access to, and more value that you have access to than you think you know, right? Meaning you wouldn't have to go and create anything new, which is going to save you a lot of time. And so we're going to go through this list really quick. In fact, I'm not going to touch on all of them. There's way too many, and I've got two more sections here.
Pablo, we want to make sure we get your offer in here.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I'll do is I'm going to go through those. Everyone's had a chance to take a look at that. But basically in physical products, written words, spoken words, that's audio and video, of course, events, resources, all these things. And I'm going to give people access to that checklist. But here's real quick. I just want to show you. I've taken elements, and this is from an actual funnel that I've built out, right? Using the actual elements that we just shared. And so these are elements that were used in our offer, right? So here's a quick sneak peek of it. Now I strategically placed them into a sales page online, right? Known as a funnel. And then here's what it looked like on a smartphone. Let me see if I can get that over there. Yeah, so this was the funnel basically on the smartphone, right? So you had everything from your offer to your guarantee, and at this point, you might be thinking, you might feel a little bit like this, right?
That's cute.
Kind of like your head's hurting. Maybe
Yes.
you've had a little bit information overload,
Boy.
feeling like this guy. Well, if that's the case, I'm here to tell you it's going to be okay. All right, I'm not pulling you out of the game. In fact, it's the last little section, and this is where I'm going to give you that simple, super easy offer. And that's in your action section here, right? Remember, you can't make progress without making decisions. And the best part about it is you don't ever have to make a big decision, especially as a business owner, when a small decision will do. So let's talk about what I have for you guys today, okay? Before I did promise that I'd give access to my slide deck, right? So I'm definitely going to do that. I'm going to provide that to you today. And I'm also, as part of what you're getting from my Irresistible offer, you're going to get the secret formula for my 2 Irresistible offer checklist. That's the category and the inventory checklist. I'm going to give you the offer elements checklist. And remember, the one thing that's the biggest mistake that entrepreneurs make when starting out as consultants is try to do it solopreneur. In fact, remember this guy, right? We want to give you access to like-minded, value-adding group of collaborators, and that's in the Collaborators Academy community, where we have free training, where I teach you guys on how to set up your offer, your webpage, your funnels, and so much more, all for free. And remember, community is the #1 way to overcome fears and strategies. So I'm also going to give you access to the #1 thing that I get asked most about over my last 3 years, right? And that's, Pablo, what webpage and funnel builder do you use to build out all of your funnels and offers? So with that, I'll give you the access to the #1 lifetime access to the webpage and funnel building tool. And that's going to help your offers look amazing and irresistible. And right now, your hosts are going to provide you with that link. So be sure to go and get that free account set up. All you got to do is go to the link that they'll provide, and you're going to get access to those free tools, as well as everything that you see on the screen here today. Again, Bonnie, thank you so much. I appreciate you all.
And Pablo. This was amazing, all that you shared with us, all that you're giving us. And also, we will give back because to everyone else as we go along, because if we use these tools that you just shared with us, we will be blessing people all over the United States and the world, because this is it's a international online conference that we're having right now with all the consultants. So great presentation. We hope that you'll all stay on afterwards for Jacqueline Grant will be on. And thank you again, Pablo, for everything. And I'll definitely look forward to checking everything you have out. I mean, free account, I'm all in.
Great. Thank you so much, Bonnie. And again, I hope this has added value to you. Now go serve your people and make every offer an irresistible offer. God bless. Take care. And we'll see you on the other side.
Thank you.
Thank you.